and scream.
All right. Are you guys ready to close more sales? All right. Raise a hand. If you guys did 10 appointments, how many of you in the room would sell 5 on 5 of those? Or less? 5 or less. Raise your hand. Okay. The goal of the message on your handout should be coming out. Handouts, please. Okay. So the first blank. So my objective for you is, if you have a 50% closing or less, my goal is to get you to 70. So to close at least 2 more orders, which if you have an average order size of 200 or 300, that's an extra 400 CPO a week that you can be making. Now, for those of you that are that are about 60 to 70%, raise your hand in closing, okay? My goal for you is to get you to 75 to 90% closing. Again, for you guys, you're probably more advanced. That's about 1,000 CPO more a week for you. Imagine the money that you're making if you sell 1,000 at half. You're making $500 more. So definitely what I'm going to teach is going to impact your business, but also your SC1 push period. So the first blank is objectives to increase your closing by at least 15 to 20%. That's my objective. That could equate, for some of you in the room, an extra 400 CPO on an order. It could be 500. Just take your average order and you put it on there. Okay. So the first tip I'm going to go over is the first blank there, which says attitude of expectancy. I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was new and I was going to go into my appointments, I wasn't thinking, pretty much what I was thinking was, I hope they buy something. I hope they do. Now, of course, being more experienced, I go in there, I'm like, okay, what are they going to buy? So I have this attitude of everybody's going to be buying something. And so the next blank is you got to visualize before an appointment what the customer's going to buy. So if let's say you have 4 appointments tomorrow, tonight you should be going over in your head, wow, okay, on that first demo, I'm going to sell to that lady a homemaker. And this is how I'm going to sell her the homemaker. So you kind of go in your brain how you're going to do the demo. Like, okay, then on my service call, okay, they have Cutco, so I'm going to show them this knife and that knife and that knife, and this is how I'm going to do a big old wish list. So you're kind of going through the motions, visualizing how every appointment's going to happen the next day. So guess what? When you show up to do your appointment, you've already gone through, your brain has already kind of gone through the demo already. So all of a sudden, you're doing the appointments, and all of a sudden, all these ideas come to you that you already thought of the night before. So it's very important to visualize because it's going to impact your business. Okay, so the next one is be genuine. Be genuine. I think when anybody that goes field training with me, they're like, why, your appointment is just so smooth. It's just so natural. And that's what it's all about, is you got to be genuine. When I'm building rapport, I'm not just talking about things that I think they want to hear about. I talk about things that I want to talk about and that probably be interest to them. Like number 1 is travel. Everybody loves vacations, right? So right now during this push period, you should be talking about, oh my God, do you have any summer plans this summer? Where are you guys taking vacations? And then they'll start opening up. Oh, we're thinking about going to Hawaii. We're going to go to Cabo. You're like, oh wow, what do you do when you go to those places? Have you ever been? And then you start talking about happy things. And so you're talking about genuine stuff that they want to hear about and that you want to talk about and share with them. Also, if you're like, for me, like buying a house, I'm always talking about countertops, cabinets, and adult things, and they tell me about their war stories about their house, and when you go buy this, go to this store, and you get their opinions and their thoughts, and you're having a natural conversation. So I would suggest with being genuine, what it does is, it's filling the blanks here, is build a rapport that impacts your credibility and trust, is the next blank, with customers. So they should buy, or they should want to buy from you because they like you. So they should want to buy from you because they like you. Cutco sells itself. It's up to you to sell yourself and how much the customer should spend to help you out. The truth is, yes, everybody loves Cutco. But here's the one thing that a lot of your managers are going to say to you in the future when you get better is, they're going to buy more because they really do like you. When I'm going and doing appointments, do you think they're buying that homemaker just because they need it? I show it to them why they need it and all the features and the benefits and all the great stuff. But really, they're buying into me because they trust me, in my opinion. And when I'm telling them, hey, you're going to use this for this and this, they're like, yeah, that's right. This totally makes sense. So they're buying into me. And they'll spend more money because they trust you. If you're not selling ultimates yet, get better in your confidence when you're doing your appointments, because they're going to spend $2,000 if you make them believe that they should trust you with that $2,000 they're giving it to you. So the demo should feel like a conversation among friends, not a sales pitch. It's a conversation among friends, not a sales pitch. And if anybody from my office, that has gone field training, like I said, with me, they'll tell you that my service calls or whatever they see is like, it's just more natural and fluid. And it just gets with more experience and more demos, that's how it's going to become. It's going to be like a conversation. You want to make sure that you conversate with them in a way when you're doing your appointment, asking them questions. A lot of reps, you guys read the manual and you totally forget sometimes to make eye contact. You totally forget to ask them questions. So it's very important to just make it fun and have them cut up stuff and be more interactive, and it's more natural that way. So here's my favorite tips. Now I'm going to warn you, I had no idea that some of you are going to be under 10K in this room. So it's added perk. Some of the closing tips I'm going to share with you are very advanced. So I'm going to try to go slow. If you guys have questions, ask your manager, me, or after the breakouts. But here are some of my closing tips that help me sell on almost every appointment. The first one is use third-person stories. People buy Cutco because everybody else is buying Cutco. They're not going to buy it to be a guinea pig. They're going to buy it because they're like, wow, everybody's buying this stuff. So you want to use third-person stories, like if you have a list of, sometimes you get these lists of recommendations and you go see all their friends. Well, if that friend has bought a homemaker, guess what you should be promoting on every demo from those referral lists? Like, oh, Betty bought a homemaker. This is the set she bought. The reason why she bought it was, get it? So if you know customers that buy ice cream scoops, oh my God, everybody's buying an ice cream scoop because it's summertime and they're doing parties. So yeah, we're selling a ton of these. And if you don't have your own personal stories, steal them from the office. That's why it's important to call them for PDI. Find out, oh my God, how many homemakers have we sold today? Or how many sets have we sold today? So that way you're promoting throughout the demo, oh yeah, we've been selling tons of those signature sets. Today we sold 3 already. So make sure you call in and get those third-person stories to help you out. The next tip is assume the sale. I use a lot of assumptive language. So pretty much when I'm doing a demo, I'm already assuming the sale. I'm doing the demo and I'm kind of telling them how they're going to use their set. So when I'm doing names and uses, I'll tell them things like, Betty, when you're going to get this paring knife, just promise me when you get it, don't use it on the cutting board. You just want to use it in the air, pair in the air for like strawberries and such. Like, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, and this summer, when you're doing barbecuing, make sure you use that Hardy slicer. Make sure your husband takes it outside and uses the Hardy slicer. So you use a lot of assumptive language that they already have bought the stuff. Another thing is you're going to love blank piece. You're going to use it for this, this, and this. So yeah, you said you like tomatoes. Well, this is perfect. You're going to use this knife right here to cut up the tomatoes. So it's very assumptive. You're teaching them on how to use their set. So the next one is, now this is the advanced key, okay? It's use customer preferred discount. There's always those customers that you're going to run into, and they're going to say, oh my God, I love that set. But you know what? I'm going to buy it later. I just can't do it right now. I promise, in a month when you call me, I'll buy it. And of course, you buy into it, but the truth is, they're not going to buy it later. So this is the phrase that you want to use. Actually, it's a whole closing paragraph, but you can shorten it if you want. I would suggest you don't write on the back side of your piece of paper, the handout that I gave it to you. So it goes something like this. Again, this is only to be used when it's that customer that they're like, I'm not going to buy anything right now. I'm just going to buy it later or whatever, even if it's a piece or whatever. So this is a worst case scenario. So you tell them this, like, I know you love Cutco, and I understand you want to buy it later. But the truth is, you're not going to be thinking about buying Cutco and buying from me in your day-to-day activities. What most people do is they lock in their discount by buying at least one or a couple pieces today. That way, you'll be using those knives daily and remembering the quality and value of Cutco. Plus, when you're ready to get your set or upgrade, you'll get your customer preferred discount and you'll receive at least 20% off. So here's what we're gonna do. So it's kind of like that. Again, what you're doing is you're telling them the truth. They're not gonna buy it later. So what you're gonna do for them is, let's say they had a couple, it's like you wanna tell them, Miss Jones, if you were to choose a couple pieces, which couple pieces did you like? They'll be like, I like the trimmer, I like that chef knife, and I like that paring knife. Great, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lock in your discount right now. You're gonna buy that chef knife and that trimmer, and I'm gonna give you that paring knife for free. Or if it's 4 pieces that they choose. So give them a special deal to lock in something. Because again, some CPO, even if it's 100 CPO, it's better than 0. And that makes a big difference in the long run. So use the customer preferred discount. The other blank is payment options make it easy to upsell. So use them. This is another advanced tip for you guys. Upselling is huge. As you're writing up an order for, let's say it's a homemaker or a galley set or something like that, usually you guys are having them flip through the book for gifts and accessories, right? So before you fill in line 1, and they're looking through things, and like, oh, the ice cream scoop, oh my God, you're gonna love that piece. In fact, if you get it on your order today, it only adds about $8 more to your payment. Do you want to just go ahead and add that? So get it, like, you're just making it seem like next to nothing. What's $39 plus tax divided by 5? It's an extra $8. Of course, they'll be like, yeah, sure, add that on there. So it's always easy to upsell even a couple gadgets. Let's say they're adding accessories, or like there's weddings coming up next month. You know, hey, it's an extra $150 for that gift set, right? Well, on a 5-pay, it's actually an extra $30 for them. So you want to use that 5-pay to your advantage to upsell them on every order. Imagine if you could add just an extra 100 to 150 CPO on every order. That's an extra $20 to $75, depending on what your commission rate is, on every order. That's huge. So that's what the payment options there. So obviously, I went kind of fast. I didn't have very much time. But if you guys just sit there and make sure on every appointment you go in expecting to sell something, and and then you try to upsell them. You try to add a few extra pieces here and there, and you tell them the truth, like, hey, let's just get something today just to get yourself started. You're going to see a huge, huge improvement in the next 2 weeks for your SC1. And my goal is obviously for all of you guys to get on stage. If you do the tips that I taught you, you're going to generate more, obviously, closing, more sales, and therefore more CPO on your demo. So thanks so much. I want to scream and shout.